decide on a range of matters relevant to the work of Council in its communities for the welfare of the people of the Pyrenees Shire. As the meeting chair, I give my consent for this ordinary council meeting to be streamed live, recorded and published online. Anyone who is invited to read out a question or make a submission will be recorded, and their voice, image and comments will form part of that live stream and recording. The chair and or the CEO have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed appropriate. That may include where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory or potentially inappropriate to be published. The live stream will stop prior to the closed section of the meeting and will recommence for the conclusion of the meeting. The public is able to view this live stream via our website at www.pyrenees.vic.gov.au. And should technical issues prevent the continuation of the live stream, the meeting will continue as long as a quorum can be maintained, and where possible, a recording of the meeting will be published on Council's website. Where a quorum cannot be maintained, the meeting will be adjourned until the issue is resolved, or the meeting postponed to another time and date in accordance with the Council's governance rules. I'll now move on to our acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the people, past and present, of the Wadawurrung, Dja Dja Wurrung, Eastern Ma, Wotjobaluk, Jadwa, Jadawajali, Wagaya and Japa nations, whose lands and waters the Pyrenees Shire operates on. We pay our respects to their ancestors and elders and recognise and respect their customs, stewardship and continuing connection to country. Moving on to apologies, we have none, so I'll move on to the notice of disclosure of interest by councillors and officers on any of the items tonight. There being none, I'll move to the confirmation of the previous minutes. So the recommendation is that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held on the 15th of September 2025, the closed meeting of council held on the same date, and the special meeting of council that was held on the 29th of September 2025, as previously circulated to councillors, be confirmed. And I ask a councillor to move a motion. Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Seconded. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. All those in favour? And those minutes are carried. We'll move on to item 7, which is business arising. And as there was no business arising, none taken on notice from the previous meeting, I'll now move on to item number 8, which is our public participation. In our public participation, members of the community are encouraged to participate in public ordinary council meetings by asking questions or presenting a submission. This can be done by attending in person or submitting in writing prior to 12 noon on the day of the meeting, online through Council's website, by mail or hand delivered. If a question or submission is submitted in writing, this will be read by the chair during public participation, stating the person's name and township. Council question time will be held first, followed by public submissions. 30 minutes is allowed for the total period of public participation. Time extensions may be allowed at the discretion of the chair, subject to the provisions of the governance rules. A person may ask a maximum of 2 questions at any one meeting, and the chair will allocate a maximum of 5 minutes to each person who wishes to address council or ask questions. The chair, councillor or council officer to whom a question is referred may immediately answer the question or take the question on notice for answering at a later date. There will be no discussion or debate with public attendees. However, councillors may ask questions of the attendee for clarification. Now that I have gone over those stipulations for public participation, I will ask if the gallery would have a question or would like to make a comment. Thank you, Mr. Davey. Would you move to the microphone? Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to bring up something I raised before and just wonder what the update is. In the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've travelled a lot around the council working, and I'm getting a lot of pensioners and a lot of people with their partner has died in farms who I help. They all ask the same question I asked about a year ago. Is there ever going to be a new sign put on the highway saying you have entered the Pyrenees Shire, or welcome to the Pyrenees Shire, or bring your bathers to the Pyrenees Shire or something? That's my first question.
We might move to an answer for that, or to you taken on notice. I might hand to Mr. Gowans on that one. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Davey, for that question.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Davey. I might also defer to the CEO. As you might be aware, Mr. Davey, Council have recently done some small township signage work in a number of our small hamlets and communities. And there'd been quite a bit of work just getting the template right for the, so making sure it met with our branding book, so that the Pyrenees Shire branding was correct. One of the more complicated issues relating to the branding project has been the entry to the Shire signage and the updates that are required for that, because there is some font changes and potentially some messaging changes that need to occur with that. That's something that I know the communications team are working on, and my understanding, getting to the crux of your question, is that it is Council's intention to finalise that project to be able to put new entrance signage at the borders of our Shire, and specifically at the key road entrances to the Shire.
Thank you, Mr. Gowans. Did you have a second question, Mr. Davey? Thank you.
This is far more simple. Are you ever going to have a clock in reception so someone knows the time? This is hilarious. I've had 3 pensioners in 3 days ask me the same thing, and I walked in now and thought, where is it? I couldn't find one. So anyway,
Okay.
I think when they come to pay their, plenty in here, we take one out there. When they come to pay their bills and that, I think they always try and look for their time. So.
No, fair question. Mr. Nolan, would you like to answer that?
Thank you, Mr. Davies. Happy to take that on board, and I'm sure, there's something that we can do there.
Might be one way around.
The time in the foyer.
Thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of those residents, thank you, Mr. Davey. We'll now move to the councillor activity report. So the officer recommendation is that council notes these reports. May I have a councillor move that? Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Seconded. Councillor Wardlaw, I think was quick there. All those in favour of those reports, and they're carried. And we'll now move to item 10.1, which is the Assembly of Councillors. Again, that we note these reports. May I ask a councillor to move those? Okay, thank you again, Councillor Phelan. Seconded. Councillor Toll. All those in favour, and those are carried as well. We now move on to our items for decision. So our first one in economic development and tourism is an economic development update, and I will hand to our CEO, Mr. Nolan, please, to speak to that report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a quarterly report for the information of council, essentially. I won't speak to all the activities, but I will just highlight a couple of things. Firstly, for the benefit of the community, to know that council is undertaking a review of its economic development strategy, and we're referring to it as the Economic Development and Investment Attraction Strategy, with the view to an uplift and a stronger focus over the term of the current council around economic growth and economic development. So that's going to be an exciting opportunity to give attention to that over the coming months. The second item I'll refer to is the Business Friendly Council program. So again, in line with the new council plan, there is a focus around how to make working with the Pyrenees more friendly for doing business. And there's a lot of commitment and energy and effort being given to that exercise at the moment, with a view to developing that plan for Pyrenees. So I'll make reference to that. The third item I'll just sort of reference is the Resilient Agriculture Investigation. So this is a project which is a detailed study, effectively, which has been done by Federation University, also involving Commerce Ballarat. It's a funded program through the Department of Agriculture, but Pyrenees is taking a lead on it. And the purpose of this project is to look at opportunities for value adding in agriculture and further agricultural pursuits in the context of the issues that are impacting on the agriculture sector right now, including climate change. So what are the opportunities to be able to grow the economy through agriculture, to add value to agriculture and value add and diversify the sector. So that's again an exciting project. We expected that report will be due in March, and just looking at Councillor Phelan here, there's actually an initiative that we sort of took up with Commerce Ballarat Department of Agriculture following Councillor Phelan raising this at the council meeting. I think it was about December last year, in terms of the opportunities for agriculture in the context of climate change. And councillors, there's lots of other sort of information in there in terms of activities around economic development and tourism. And there is a recommendation, councillors, in respect of one particular project, that's the water pipeline project, which I've spoken to numerous times before. But in the context of a state election coming up, there is a recommendation that council prioritise this to seek an election commitment from the state government and opposition parties to fund the SWMP project in collaboration with the Northern Grampians and Central Goldfields Shire, and receives a further report on the implementation of that business-friendly council program that I referred to.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. I'll first move to a council willing to move a motion on that recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Phelan, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Okay, we'll move into discussion. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. Would you like to speak to?
Move this on, yeah. Really great to see all of that activity. Thank you, Mr. Nolan. And to see the responsiveness to really what council has been asking for in terms of that increased support for economic development, increased focus on investment attraction, but also I'm really excited to see that project with Fed Uni and thinking about how we can support farmers in the context of climate change to maybe adapt to the different climate and even changing soil, etc. So what we can, how can we get the most out of our local economy? I'm really interested to hear the outcome of the request for quote for the consultants to lead on that economic development and investment attraction work. So I'm sure we'll get an update on that at one of the upcoming meetings, Mr. Nolan, but look forward to hearing more about that. And I did also just want to comment on one of the other activities mentioned here. I think I mentioned this in the last briefing, really excited to see that the Ballarat Biennale went to the wineries and had some really good exhibitions across quite a few of our excellent wineries in the Pyrenees. But I was very disappointed with the promotion of it. So I know from speaking with some of the wineries that people had to buy a booklet to then get the map to see which wineries the Ballarat Biennale was at. And some of the, for example, I met and spoke with the photographer whose exhibition was at the Hidden at Biggie Billa Winery, and he was saying people just didn't know basically where the exhibition was. It wasn't promoted by Ballarat Biennale. So that was a little bit disappointing. We maybe didn't get the numbers through that we'd been hoping for. So I don't know if there is opportunity to provide that feedback to Ballarat Biennale, because it was a great idea, a fantastic opportunity to bring more people into the region. But actually, it was very difficult to get information about where the wineries were. And when you've got the artists saying, really disappointed with the turnout because it just wasn't promoted as we were expecting, or as they were expecting. But otherwise, yeah, really happy to see all of the activity in the report and looking forward to hearing more. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Phelan. And I know on behalf of everyone, even the impetus that you started that that research project, those comments, that's incredible, and that outcomes will be just incredible. But also with the art exhibition, like we want to be able to do more of those. So definitely we'll get that feedback however we can do that. Sorry, Councillor Wardlaw, did you want to speak next? No, any other councillors on that? It is, there's so much in that and so much is going to happen in that space. So this is a very exciting item tonight to be voting on. I think to the water pipeline project, again, we were advocating for that again just last week with the Minister Spence. So, and they're very keen to be able to support that. It's an incredible project that's going to be able to add value and sustainability to that area and our area. So I'm very excited about that. So with that in mind, I will put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you. We're up to item 11.2.1, and that's the curbside waste and recycling collection service. And I will now hand to Mr. Douglas Gowans. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report seeks Council's consideration to make changes to the curbside collection service, which includes the introduction of food organics and garden organics, otherwise known as FOGO, and changes to collection frequency and bin size, and consider to allow soft plastic recycling within the curbside commingled recycling collection. Council have recently conducted a waste survey where there were 158 responses received, and I just want to take the opportunity to thank the community for engaging in this survey. And this survey asked a number of questions relating to components of FOGO recycling and other recycling and general waste services. It's interesting that there's quite a few facts and figures in the report, but 51% of respondents from Beaufort and Avoca who currently have a green waste bin supported early implementation of FOGO services. And it's also worth noting that quite a number of shires within our region have already started that implementation of the food and green organics. Pyrenees Shire Council's engineering team frequently review the waste and recycling service to ensure an efficient and best value service to the community that complies with federal and state government requirements, while also considering environmental benefits. There are several changes that can be made to the Pyrenees Shire's current curbside collection service that can provide a better service and better conform to current and future proposed state government requirements. The introduction of curbside FOGO collection service is a requirement of state government's Circular Economy Act, and the regulations require a 4-bin system by July 2027. And while it is state government a requirement to introduce FOGO service, there are several factors why an early curbside FOGO collection could be considered within Pyrenees Shire Council prior to July 2027. And just a couple of those reasons include that waste audit results reported a high volume of FOGO material within landfill bins, up to about 30% of the landfill bin volume. And Pyrenees Shire Council's Waste and Collection Strategy and Transition Plan, approved by Council in December 2020, included the implementation of an early curbside FOGO service to start in July next year. Also, landfill disposal costs are greatly increasing each year, with current FOGO at $233 per tonne versus $155 to $175 per tonne for the disposal and composting of FOGO. There's also an opportunity within Beaufort and Avoca who already have a green waste bin that can easily be converted to a FOGO bin at no cost. There are several different options regarding the collection frequency and locations and towns to consider when introducing a curbside FOGO collection. These include changes to the current landfill bin frequency and or bin sizes, with evidence suggesting that changing the landfill bin collection frequency will change the recycling behaviour of residents. It's estimated that the introduction of a full Shire curb full Shire-wide curbside FOGO collection will cost an additional $200,000 to $250,000 per year, meaning property waste and recycling annual rates fee would increase by $50 to $65 per year on top of the existing waste charge. Additional to the FOGO implementation, there are some other changes that could be introduced by council, and one of those is the glass curbside collections. It's proposed to change the frequency of the current monthly or 4 weekly 120 litre glass bin curbside collection to a bi-monthly 8 weekly curbside collection across the Shire. And the reasons this could be appropriate include the presentation rate for glass collections is very low at about 20% of the bins that are currently out there at any one collection period. And the glass bins that are presented are generally only 30% full when they're collected. And now with the introduction of the container deposit scheme, which has greatly reduced the amount of glass collected since the service was introduced, it also has a downward pressure on the amount of glass being put into the bins. And this would result in potentially cost saving of about $40,000 a year, which would equate to about $10 per year in reduction of the waste charge for residents if we went to an 8 weekly pickup cycle. One of the downsides to introducing a 8 weekly cycle include that residents may forget to put glass bins out on the scheduled collections. And a solution to this could be investigated further, which includes the ability for residents to register for an automatic reminder text message or email the night before the scheduled collection. The other potential change that has been put forward in the report is the introduction of soft plastics. And this has come from residents in the past seeking, can council look into soft plastic solutions? Soft plastics are normally disposed of in the red littered bin, landfill bins and sent to landfill. These soft plastics are 16% by volume of the material included in the landfill bins. Officers are currently investigating if soft plastic can be accepted within the commingled recycling bins within Pyrenees Shire Council. This soft plastic would be recycled similarly to the soft plastic pilot program currently being undertaken in the City of Ballarat. The City of Ballarat's pilot program for soft plastic recycling involves residents to register for the soft plastic recycling. They receive plastic bags that are used to fill with accepted soft plastics and then place the full soft plastic bags into the commingled recycling bin. The cost of this soft plastic recycling is at no additional cost to the residents who register with the bags paid by the soft plastic stewardship program. If soft plastics can be introduced within the curbside commingled recycling bin at Pyrenees Shire Council, this will further decrease the amount of material to landfill. The curbside waste bin collection service is a vital service provided by Pyrenees Shire Council. It's essential that the service continues to deliver the best value to the community. The proposed changes aim to enhance the service and improve overall efficiency and sustainability. There are 5 recommendations that the officers are putting forward to Council for consideration. And they are as follows. 1, that Council endorses changes to the frequency of the current monthly curbside glass collection to a bi-monthly 8 weekly curbside glass collection. Endorses officers to continue to investigate soft plastic recycling and implement an option, if available, which fits within current waste and recycling budgets. 3, that Council implements a staged fortnightly 240 litre curbside FOGO collection service within Beaufort and Avoca in early 2026, including a change to the frequency and bin size of the current weekly 120 litre landfill bin to a fortnightly 240 litre collection. 4, that Council undertakes required activities to implement the Shire-wide curbside fortnightly 240 litre FOGO collection service to be activated by 1st of July 2027, with allowance for bin purchase and pre-implementation activities in the 26-27 budget year. And 5, that council undertakes community notification and education on any agreed changes to the curbside collection services.
Thank you, Mr Gowans. I will now ask a councillor if they can move a motion supporting this recommendation or supply their own different motion if they would prefer to. Councillor Tull, would you like to provide one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I'd like to put forward a different motion to what the council officers have recommended. I appreciate the hard work that's gone into that report, Mr Gowans. What does council stand for? Roads, rates and rubbish. They're the 3 tiers that base it on. We've had the state government bring in their circular economy.
As a seconder.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Can you just give the motion first and I'll ask for a seconder on that, please? And then
the motion that I propose is that we get council officers to do a detailed investigation as to the possibility of getting our own waste collection services moving to the future. That is, purchasing our own assets, trucks, and employing operators and securing a waste dump site such as the one at our wrap. And that we wait on making any changes to the current situation collection until further state government direction's been given.
Thank you, Councillor Tull. I've got a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. And no, you may continue to speak to it if you'd like now. Thank you.
Where was it? Back to the state government and their circular economy and their 4-bin system and FOGO that's going to cost us, the ratepayers, an extra $40 or $50 proposed in this latest report. So 200 to 250,000 to implement picking up some organic waste and whatever. So I think as a council we have a responsibility to get it right, to explore all the options, and we're in no rush. There's an email here last week from Beth MacArthur. There's only 25 councils commenced curbside collection for glass and 33 councils have opposed it. So we're not going out on our own. Let's wait and see what the other councils do and get it right before we go spending a hell of a lot of money on a heap of bins. And I, for one, don't want another bin at home. And I'm sure if you're on a small block in town, you don't want another bin. So let's just get it right, get our rubbish collected in a timely fashion and an economic fashion that's good for our community.
Thank you, Councillor Tull. Councillor Ferrari, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Support what Councillor Toll has said, and particularly around, I don't think there's a need to rush into it. We've got some time. This is only new, so there could be changes to the implementation. I think if we rush in and we make decisions and we sign contract, we do all that stuff prematurely. It may work for us, but on the other hand, it may not too. So I think biding a bit of time, just letting it see where it's going to go, I think is a good thing.
Well said. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Any other councillors would like to speak to that? Councillor Phelan.
Thank you. I also support just taking some time. I do know that when we do the residents' satisfaction survey, waste management consistently appears really highly in the satisfaction of residents and ratepayers. So we don't want to be going down a path, changing things unless we know that we're actually improving a service when they're really satisfied with the current waste management service. So yeah, good to just investigate this thoroughly and see what improvements we may be able to make or benefits we may gain. Thanks.
Absolutely, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Wardle, just to second that and just to hone in, roads, rates and rubbish are really, core aspects that we need to get really right in supporting our community, and echoing what everyone else has said. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing. We appreciate the work that the team's gone into and the data that they've collected. That will, of course, lead us to the best solution possible, but we don't want to rush into this. It is something that greatly affects our community, and so I think that's a great motion to put forward too. So if there's no other further discussion, I will put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you again. And thank you, Mr. Gowans and your team, for that preparation. We're now on to item 11.2.2, and that is the green waste collection services and fire preparedness. And again, I'll hand back to you. Thank you, Mr. Gowans.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider the current green waste collection options within the Shire in the lead up to the declared fire season. The fire danger period for Pyrenees Shire is generally between November and May each year. And this is declared by the CFA. And some of the early information is that it's probably going to be quite an early implementation this year, but we'll wait till the official announcements on that. In the lead up to the declared fire danger period, council has previously offered green waste disposal at transfer stations at no cost to the community. This arrangement was made some years ago and has been extended to cover the whole year rather than just the period preceding the fire danger period. Pyrenees Shire transfer stations do come at a substantive cost due to the requirement for supervision and other factors, including processing and disposal. A recent customer action request submitted to council to support residents in Redbank with additional green waste collections has prompted this report for council consideration. Council understands that not everyone has either appropriate vehicles to transport green waste or the physical capabilities to handle green waste. Council has had in the past a number of locations where green waste could be stockpiled to allow for more convenient disposal opportunities. Unfortunately, this created a range of issues and did encourage illegal dumping of hard waste. Council has also previously explored having skip bins for various forms of waste, and most recently a glass skip bin collection. These two created amenity issues and have encountered contamination of the waste stream. One option to explore would be the provision of skip bins in localities where transfer station access is further away. Another option for future years would be to expand the curbside green waste collection that is currently delivered in Avoca and Beaufort. One of the key reasons that the council has previously supported a free green waste solution, free green waste at transfer stations, is part of the fire preparation process. And as part of the annual fire preparation process, council sends out pre-season advisory letters to Shire residents who've received a fire notice in the preceding year. These letters include a list of contractors to enable residents who cannot undertake the work themselves to engage a local contractor. Residents seeking assistance from contractors can find a list on council's website or by contacting the Community Safety and Amenity team directly. Ensuring residents have accessible options for green waste disposal remains an important part of council's broader fire prevention strategy. Given the significant challenges experienced with alternative disposal methods, such as contamination, illegal dumping and high ongoing costs, there is limited benefit in changing these arrangements. And therefore, the officer recommendation is that council continue to offer free green waste disposal at the 4 transfer stations, including Avoca, Beaufort, Landsborough and Lake Bellevue.
Thank you, Mr. Gowans. I will ask the councillor to move a motion to that recommendation. They're happy to. Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Seconded, Councillor Toll. Councillor Wardlaw, would you like to speak to that?
I think it's very good that we actually offer free green waste disposal. I'm not sure if every shire does, but you know, it's a good thing, you know, and we are in the type of country that, you know, fires are a real issue, and the fact that we're supporting our residents in this way is to be commended. And I'm really pleased that we're still looking at options to assist with rural locations like Redbank. It's a bit of a work in progress because there's pros and cons to everything we suggest, but it's good to see that you're coming up with some ideas, and we'll see what we can work on in the next 12 months.
Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Councillor Toll, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Councillor, for presenting that report. It's terrible to think that we can't offer other solutions to the community because of illegal dumping and that sort of thing, that the small minorities affecting the majority of people and making it harder for them. So can we encourage our communities to keep an eye out for the people doing the illegal dumping and report them to the relevant authorities? But so maybe in the future, we can move forward and provide those services to our community.
Thank you, councillor Toll, well said. Other councillors, councillor Phelan?
Thank you, Mayor. I also support what councillor Wardlaw was saying and councillor Toll. I think it is difficult for some of these communities, particularly townships like Redbank, where we do have ageing communities, a lot of people living on their own who don't necessarily have the capacity to be doing the round trip into Avoca. It would be, I think really positive if we can continue to think creatively about, for example, giving some notice of the equivalent of the hard rubbish collection that might come around in the lead up to fire season to collect additional green waste, because certainly what I hear from residents, they are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to clean up properties, make sure they are removing green waste so that they're reducing the load on properties. So anything we can do to support that would be really welcome.
Yeah, well said. Thank you, councillor Phelan. Other councillors on that green waste? I think Mr. Gowans, you will have taken note of those requests too. So it is really pivotal that we're able to help those and particularly support our ageing population to be able to live in place as long as possible. So if there's no other further discussion, we'll move to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you very much for that. Now, item 11.2.3 is the 10-year asset plan, the public consultation submission review. Again, thank you, Mr. Gowans.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report presents the 10-year asset plan to Council for consideration for adoption. The Local Government Act requires Council to develop, adopt and keep in force an asset management plan in accordance with its deliberative engagement practices. The plan must include information about maintenance, renewal, acquisition, expansion, upgrade and disposal and decommissioning in relation to each class of infrastructure asset under the control of Council. The draft 10-year asset plan 2025-2034 has been exhibited to the public for feedback and comments in accordance with Council's deliberative engagement requirements. An opportunity was provided for members of the public to make submissions, including through the engagement hub on Council's website. This document has been amended in response to 2 internal submissions received, and there were no external submissions received. It is now presented for Council for adoption. The internal submissions suggested some inclusions such as the acknowledgement of traditional custodians, elaboration on asset sustainability and consistency and supporting text for each asset class, and some minor changes to the order of road reconstruction projects. The 10-year asset plan includes updated information in relation to infrastructure assets under the control of Council. The 10-year asset plan 2025-2034 is provided for adoption consideration by Council, and the officer recommendation reflects that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gowans. I will ask a councillor, please, to move a motion. An alternate one. Thank you. Councillor Phelan, seconded. Councillor Ferrari, thank you. Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak to that?
Only to make the comment that it's really interesting to see the number of assets which Council is trying to manage. I mean, it certainly points to the challenge of particularly small councils with this really extensive both geographic but also categories of assets which we are trying to maintain and keep in really good condition, because we know that's so important for the community. So I really appreciated the extensive report. Thank you. And yes, note the challenge that we have trying to maintain our assets. Thank you.
That's an incredibly pertinent comment, Councillor Phelan, and also the fact, and we've had discussions and already started talking again to ministers about the Crown land assets also that we end up having to look after and support. So that proportion of that work is a great deal that we need to look at. We're not looking at that right now, we're looking at the whole plan, but thank you, Councillor Phelan. Councillor Ferrari, would you like to speak?
No, it's been said.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Any other councillors on that? And then again, we would like to thank all the effort that goes into that. and the internal recommendations that came out. I will take this opportunity to encourage the public to be able to check out these documents that we do. These are documents for your facilities, so we very much welcome feedback, but it's also for your own interest. You might want to look at it, just as Councillor Phelan said, to see what assets we do look after and the diversity of those as well. So thank you. But yes, sorry, Mr.
I was going to say, Madam Mayor, that the report, the plan will be available on Council's website and available on demand at Council's resource centres.
Thank you very much. Just to reiterate that, it will be on the website, and also paper copies can be provided to the public as well. So thank you, Mr. Gowans. In light of that, I will put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you. We now move to item 11.2.4, which is the statutory planning user survey for 2025. And thank you, Mr. Gowans, again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report presents the findings from the Statutory Planning Services User Survey for consideration by Council. The survey aimed to gather direct feedback from users of the Statutory Planning Service to inform future improvements in service delivery and internal processes. The survey targeted individuals who had submitted a planning permit application within the past 2 years, inviting them to share their recent experiences with the statutory planning team. A total of 360 letters were mailed to applicants, and the survey was open for a 3-month period from May to August this year. 51 participants and individuals chose to participate, which was great. And the detailed responses to each question are contained in the report. While many respondents praised the efficiency, professionalism and supportive nature of the statutory planning team, several valuable suggestions for further enhancing the service were also provided. There were some areas for improvement which are contained in the report, and I'll just go into a few of these now. Pre-application support. To assist permit applicants, there is an opportunity to provide clearer, upfront advice on the feasibility of proposals. And Council's also committed to a business-friendly council initiative that will look to enhance this area of assisting people to realise their dreams within the Shire. Another area of improvement is improving the functionality and accessibility of the Greenlight platform. This is the IT system that hosts all the information pertaining to statutory planning applications. And the user experience improvements to the Greenlight platform, particularly around document uploads and application tracking, would reduce confusion and the need for follow-up contact. A further area of improvement is around enhancing planning team responsiveness and frontline support, and that one speaks for itself. Another one is foster a consistent community-focused approach. The organisation is committed to continuing to reinforce a respectful, solution-oriented approach in all interactions with permit applicants. 2 further areas of improvement are increasing the transparency in application timeframes and supporting staff capability and consistency in planning advice. The Statutory Planning Services User Survey has provided valuable insights into the experiences and perceptions of recent planning permit applicants. The survey identified key areas where improvements can be made to enhance the applicant experience. The Council's commitment to continuous improvement, informed by this user feedback, will ensure that the statutory planning team continues to deliver effective, customer-focused planning services that meet the evolving needs of its residents and stakeholders. And it's the officer recommendation that Council notes the survey information contained within this report and thank the community for their participation in the survey. And 2, that Council supports the implementation of improvements outlined in this report, including pre-application support, enhanced digital platform functionality, improved customer responsiveness, and a consistent community-focused approach.
Thank you, Mr. Gowans. I will ask you, Councillor, please move a motion. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari, and seconded Councillor Toll. I'll hand to you, Councillor Ferrari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's fantastic that the survey was conducted and the community were consulted. That's really, really good. And I do thank also the community that participated in that survey, because it's very, very important. Planning permits etc., are a constant point of discussion between the community and councils. They come up nearly on a weekly basis between the five of us, probably more often sometimes. So it's really, really important this piece of work was done. I note there's a number of recommendations, in fact 6. I'm stating the obvious probably, Mr. Gowns, but they would have come about as a result of the interrogation of the analysis of the survey results. And just further to that, what would be a reasonable time frame for the implementation of these recommendations?
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Ferrari, for your question. That is correct, that those 6 areas of improvement, the team are committed to those, and we're working on those at the moment. Some of them are partway through their implementation, and as soon as we identified internally that there was areas for improvement, we wanted to get that improvement starting to roll out. So I see over the next 12 months the full rollout of all of those improvements, including the enhancements to the Greenlight program, which is part of the digital transformation project and a particularly key element for my team in that transformation project.
Thank you for that response and good question. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Gowns. And I do note they will take some time to be implemented. It doesn't happen overnight, but I think the really important thing that these areas of improvement will be in the officers thinking when they're doing planning permits. So it's self-implementing all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Councillor Toll, would you like to speak to him?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's fantastic that we're addressing that we've got some issues within the planning problem, and it's something that can be addressed and fixed, and that's the biggest thing as councillors. We get planning permits, but the main thing is we've addressed it, we're moving forward, and we won't get it right first up, but if we continually seek for improvement, that's all we can do. We want to encourage people to build and grow within our community. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Councillor Toll. Other councillors? Councillor Phelan.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I just ask Mr. Gowns, is there an intention to run this survey periodically, annually, for example, because it would be very good to compare year on year improvements that we might make in some of these areas. Particularly noting the council has been really focused on this area, we'll be keen to see improvements. But I do also note there is a lot of positive feedback from the survey as well. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Phelan, for your question. I'm in council's hands around the frequency of this. I think it has been a really positive experience for the team. When I say positive, not necessarily all the responses are positive, but there's positive outcomes that can be gained from, learning from mistakes of the past and implementing and trying to continuously improve. So I think there's absolutely been value in it. I would, as an officer of council, maybe suggest that is yearly too often because we'll be capturing only people who have just finished their planning application within that 12-month period. I think it's good to get feedback. My suggestion might be biannually, but I'm in council's hands.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gowns, and yeah, that's significant. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. Any other, Councillor Woodlaw, you're happy? No, thank you. And I think, again, we thank all the community that did give such productive feedback too. The positive feedback is really heartening to know where we're getting it right, but also the other feedback in being able to improve that service, and very heartening to hear that the team are trying to roll that out immediately, which is awesome. So we thank the team for that and for those conducting that survey. So on that, we will put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you, and thank you for all that discussion. We'll move on to item 11.2.5, and that's the domestic animal management. And thank you, Mr. Gowns, again. You might need water, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This report aims to explore potential options for implementing a cat desexing program within the Shire and to clarify relevant legislation concerning animal welfare and responsible pet ownership. The Domestic Animals Act 1994 is the primary legislation regulating the ownership of dogs and cats in Victoria. It promotes responsible pet ownership, supports animal welfare, and protects the community and environment from nuisance and dangerous animals. Under Section 10 of the Act, owners must register all dogs and cats with over 3 months of age with their local council and renew registrations annually. When registering a dog, owners must declare whether the animal is a restricted breed. The Act allows for the following exemption: a dog or cat that is subject of a written veterinary advice that the health of the dog or cat is liable to be significantly prejudiced if it is desexed. The written veterinary advice must include reasons why desexing would significantly prejudice the animal's health. The Pyrenees Shire Domestic Animal Management Plan outlines council strategies for managing domestic animals within the confines of the Domestic Animals Act. And there are a number of services that fall under that act, which are listed in the report. One of the issues that we are experiencing in the Shire is cat overpopulation, and unfortunately high euthanasia rates remain a persistent issue in the Shire. Council officers continue to dedicate significant time and resources to managing stray and feral cats. While compulsory desexing and the 2008 cat curfew have helped, further action is still required. Council has demonstrated commitment to supporting low-cost desexing initiatives, particularly for concession card holders. There are current ongoing initiatives also including partial registration refund for residents who desex their pets within 12 months of the initial registration and provide a desexing certificate. They're eligible for a partial refund. And also for low-cost desexing services as part of the 4-year Domestic Animal Management Plan with ongoing review and implementation planned. However, there's some areas where Council could further undertake some improvements to support the community in this area. And Council's committed to improving animal welfare and reducing cat overpopulation across the Shire, and the following initiatives and actions could guide future efforts. One would be to expand and support low-cost desexing programs, introducing a council cat desexing voucher program, partially subsidised and funded through council's budget. If councils, say, allocated $10,000 to the cat desexing voucher program, and residents who qualified for it would only have to pay $50 out of pocket, and this could result in like 100 vouchers for male cats to be desexed and 38 vouchers for female cats to be desexed. That's because the cost for female desexing is actually a lot higher. Another initiative is encouraging early pet registration and desexing. Council could introduce a new registration category for animals under 12 months of age with a $0 fee. And that would have the benefits of getting the animal on council system and encouraging registrations going forward. We can also look at strengthening compliance and legislative alignment, and that may include some enforcement requirements. And there's also the ability to review strategic frameworks, including the Domestic Animal Management Plan. And this is planned over the next 12 months. And the other issue that is always at play here is seeking external funding to implement some of these opportunities. Therefore, it's the officer recommendation that Council includes the initiatives listed in this report in the upcoming review of the Pyrenees Shire Domestic Animal Management Plan to ensure alignment with long-term strategic objectives and community needs, and that Council seeks opportunities for funding to support low-cost cat desexing programs for Pyrenees Shire.
Thank you, Mr. Gowans. I will ask you, Councillor, now to move a motion on that. Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Seconded. Councillor Phelan. Thank you. Councillor Wardlaw, would you like to speak to this?
Through you, Madam Mayor. I was unaware that we had the partial registration refund, which I had mentioned a while ago that, you know, some people don't like to desex too early for the health of their animals. So this could actually get around that issue that you could pay, get your animal desexed, later, but then get a refund back. So, you know, why not do that type of thing? So yeah, I didn't realise we did that. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to know, could we have more information made public on the requirements of the cat curfew? Just, I think people are a bit lax at times or maybe don't know. So if we could just make that a bit more public so that in the future there's less shenanigans going on at night time with cats. So thank you for that.
That was a great advice on the shenanigans. Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak? Any other councillors? I think it is, you know, it is proactive, and thank you to Councillor Wardlaw, who sort of got this in motion, because we do want to protect our animals and our environment. And so thank you, Mr. Gowns, for that work that's gone into it, and a great initiative with the vouchers, again, just to be able to support our community, to be able to make those choices. So in light of that, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you. Now, item 11, we move into corporate and community services. So Mr. Gowns gets a break, but Ms. Edity is now starting. So item 11.3.1 is in relation to the S6 delegations to council staff. Thank you, Ms. Edity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to seek council adoption of the revised S6 instrument of delegation from the Pyrenees Shire Council to members of council staff. Section 11(1) of the Local Government Act 2020 provides council with the power to delegate to the Chief Executive Officer via instrument of delegation any power, duty or function of a council under the Act other than one prohibited by Section 11(2). A range of other legislation also allows a council to delegate powers, duties and functions under those acts or regulations to council staff. The following instruments of delegations were reviewed in May 2025 using information provided through Maddocks Lawyers Service that monitors legislative change and provides updates on changes relevant to local government to support good governance and compliance. In July 2025, further updates were received from Maddocks Lawyers that indicated additional powers or duties in the Planning and Environment Act 1987 that should be added to the S6 instrument of delegation. Changes in red text in the table within the body of the report show the amendments from the last change. I will note that within the delegate, it is listed as SPL. It should actually be PSL. The lawful operation of council administration requires delegations of authority to be authorised by the council, and it's therefore the officer's recommendation that council, in the exercise of the powers conferred by Section 11 of the Local Government Act 2020 and other legislative referenced in the attached instrument, resolve that 1, the members of council staff referenced in the S6 instrument of delegation, council to members of council staff attached, be authorised as set out in the instrument. 2, the Chief Executive Officer is authorised to sign the instrument on behalf of the council. 3, the instrument comes into force immediately after the instrument is signed by the Chief Executive Officer. And 4, once executed, all former S6 instruments of delegation are revoked.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. And I will ask for a councillor to move a motion to that recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Phelan, seconded Councillor Ferrari. Would you like to speak to that, Councillor Phelan? Councillor Ferrari, no, it's quite straightforward, that one, but thank you again, Ms. Edity, for preparing that. So all those in favour, and that's carried with the amendment of the PSL in that document. We'll move to item 11.3.2, which is the council plan from 2025 to 2029, the initiatives for that plan. Thank you, Ms. Edity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to consider community feedback on the presented draft initiatives that will underpin the work that will be undertaken to deliver against the council plan 2025 to 2029. At the special meeting of council on the 23rd of June 2025, council formally adopted the council plan 25-29, which set the strategic direction for the council and the elected representatives over their elected term. Since this time, councillors and officers developed a suite of work to support and achieve the aspirations of the council plan. At the ordinary meeting of council 15 September 2025, council supported the suite of drafted initiatives to seek public submission. The surveys received a total of 5 responses, and those submissions are detailed in the table in the body of the report, inclusive of responses to the feedback. This draft initiative clearly articulate where an initiative is subject to funding requirements and what will be delivered within annual operational budgets. Officers will continue to explore funding opportunities that will enable the progression of identified initiatives and subsequent actions for the delivered strategies. It's the officers' recommendation that Council 1 adopts the draft initiatives 2025 to 2029. 2, accepts the proposed responses to submissions and changes to the draft initiatives as required to reflect the response. 3, acknowledges and thanks the community for their contribution, and where a submission has not been made as anonymous, authorise officers to formally respond. And 4, seeks quarterly progress reporting against adopted initiatives to demonstrate to our community the progress being made towards delivering expected outcomes.
Thank you, Ms Edity. I'll ask a councillor to move a motion on that recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Phelan, and seconded Councillor Wardlaw. Councillor Phelan.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to note all of the work that's gone into both the preparation of the council plan and all of the initiatives. So there is a lot of work, a lot of conversations that sit behind the plan and the initiatives. I really appreciate those members of the community who've provided feedback, and I'm very supportive of the idea that we have quarterly reports that hopefully are available to the community, easily digestible, just for them to be able to look at a glance how we're tracking on the delivery of those commitments. Thank you.
That's really well said. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. Agree. Councillor Wardlaw. Any other councillors on that? I would just like to thank the community again too, and they're really considered responses. We're really thankful for that, because it's about us being able to really enact them. And I do totally second Councillor Phelan on that proactive feedback, because not only helps us set that ship on the right course if it's off course, but also it gives an opportunity for more feedback as well. So thank you very much for that, and to Ms Editing and the team for that, and also to responding to the people who responded. I think that's a real courteous way of acknowledging that effort that people have put in. So thank you. In light of that, we'll put that motion to the vote. All those in favour? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Item 11.3.3 is our annual report for 2025. And again, thank you, Ms Editing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on behalf of the Pyrenees Shire Mayor, this report presents the 2025 Pyrenees Shire Council Annual Report. The Local Government Act 2020, Section 100, requires Council to have a council meeting to consider the annual report. The annual report 2025 has been prepared in accordance with Section 98 of the Local Government Act 2020 and contains outcomes against various matters as defined for the 24-25 financial year, including operations of council, audited performance statements, audited financial statements, copy of the auditor's report on the performance and financial statements, and any other matters prescribed by the regulations. Pyrenees Shire Council continues to experience economic and operational challenges across the community, with continuing inflationary cost pressures within a rate capping environment, also with the impacts of natural disasters including flood, fire, and drought pressures are impacting the community economic welfare. In addition, the state government's changes to the fire service levy to the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund has further impacted the living pressures of our community. The annual report continues to provide transparency and visibility of council operations, services and financial management outcomes for the community. The officer recommendation is that Council accepts the Pyrenees Shire Council Annual Report as presented by the Mayor and enables any minor administrative amendments that may be identified through final proofreading.
May I ask the council to move a motion to that recommendation? Thank you again, Councillor Phelan. Seconded. Councillor Wardlaw, thank you. I thank you for that. Councillor Phelan, would you like to speak to that?
Just to note again how comprehensive the report is, and it's also a really great snapshot of looking at some of the highlights over the year that's been. of course, getting a new
Still
council,
busy.
being one of them, election of a new council, but yeah, really comprehensive report. Thank you for putting that together. And yeah, very, very supportive of the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Phelan. Also, councillor Wardlaw, would you like to speak to that? Any other councillors to any aspect there? Just to reiterate, oh yes, huge thanks to, thank you, the CEO just wrote a lovely note. Thanks to Fiona, our comms lady, she's incredible. And she's behind the screen too now, so hopefully she can hear me live. Saying to Fiona Henderson and the team, really great stuff. It's an incredible report. It's so well presented. I'm incredibly proud to be able to present this report. There are a few minor things that we still need to just correct in that and maybe proofread. But really, we're very excited to get this out to the public and to be able to show what has been a very busy year, a crazy year too, with a new council and being able to still meet those needs of the public. But I'm very proud of this report, so thank you again. And if there's no other discussion on that, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour, and that's carried. Thank you very much. Item 11.3.4 is to do with our Christmas closure period. Thank you, Ms. Eddy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to request the Council's endorsement of the proposed closure of the Pyrenees Shire Council offices and other arrangements during the 25-26 Christmas New Year holiday period. It has been the practice of the Pyrenees Shire Council to close during the Christmas New Year holiday period. The holiday period closure enables staff to take a break with little impact on service delivery, and at the same time provides the opportunity for staff to reduce outstanding annual leave and roster day off balances. Full details of the closures and amended services are in the report, but just a couple of points. All offices' services closed at 12 p.m. on the 19th of December for the staff breakup. All offices' services closed at 3 p.m. on the 24th of December. All offices' services closed for the 3 public holidays during that period, that the municipal depots have skeleton staff from the 22nd of December through until resumption of normal service on the 5th of January. Reduced opening hours at the resource centres through that period, and all areas service back to normal on the 5th of January. So it's the officer's recommendation that council endorses the closure of the Pyrenees Shire Council offices and other arrangements during the 25-26 Christmas New Year holiday period, as detailed in the report.
Thank you, Ms. Eddy. May I ask the council to move a motion to that? Thank you again, Ms. Councillor Phelan, and seconded, sorry, Jamie, Councillor Ferrari. And any comments on that? Any comments? All those in favour? And it's carried. Thank you. We hope that everyone has a good Christmas period then. Item 11.3.5 is in relation to the Audit and Risk Committee, the June and September period this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is to provide the council with an update on the Audit and Risk Committee meetings, M016, held on the 24th of June 2025, and M017, held on the 17th of September 2025. A copy of the approved minutes from the June 2025 meeting is attached, whilst the draft minutes from the meeting of September 2025 are attached for council information. Council continues to hold the Audit and Risk Committee meetings in accordance with our legislative obligations and approved charter. This report provides an overview of the topics discussed at both the June and September 2025 meetings. Officer's recommendation is that Council 1 notes the information contained within the report and its attachments, and 2 receives the September 2025 report from the committee chair.
Thank you, Ms. Eddy. May I ask a councillor to move a motion? Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Seconded, Councillor Ferrari. Councillor Wardlaw, would you like to speak to that? Being on the committee.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, being on the committee of the Audit and Risk Committee, there's a lot that goes into it that people wouldn't be aware of, and I just, hats off to the people that have put all the work in, all the financials, all the governance, everything. And yeah, let's just keep moving the way we are. We're in a good position at the moment.
Thank you, Councillor Wardlaw. Councillor Ferrari.
Thank you. Now, just support Councillor Wardlaw's comments, and having previously had that as a portfolio, the audit and risk, it just is important. Those meetings are really good and they have some very frank and healthy discussions and they don't hold back about any issues identified and also get some good feedback about what we're doing right. So they're really important meetings. They might roll off the tongue like, but they're really important and we do get a lot out of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Any other councillors? Just to second again that as well, and also thank Councillor Wardlaw because they are timely meetings but incredibly important and it is great to be understand what's going on and keeping an eye on things, and they're incredibly thorough, and the committee chair report was very thorough too. He's very invested here. The whole team is there. We have a very good audit and risk committee, so thank you to all those involved. In light of that, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour, and that's carried. Now, the item 11.3.6 is a project update for October 2025. Thank you, Ms. Edity.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is for the council to receive a high-level update on key council projects. In the past, updates on council projects have been reported regularly to council and the community through information reports on council meeting agendas, in addition to the project dashboard, which has been developed in recent years and is accessible on council's website. Major projects are reported through the weekly community notice board in addition to those other opportunities. Currently, our project register has 60 projects listed, which range in complexity, funding and timelines. Although council has a project management framework, there is a need to review. As this review progresses, the reporting framework for our projects will change to demonstrate a framework that drives accountability, engagement and transparency. It's the office's recommendation that council 1 notes this report, 2 continues to provide updates and information to the community about the status of projects across the Shire through various communication methods, and 3 acknowledges the strategic work being undertaken to improve our project management framework.
Thank you, Ms. Edity. May I ask a councillor? Thank you, Councillor Ferrari. Seconded, Councillor Toll. I'll hand straight to you, Councillor Ferrari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's great that this is being reviewed. I did put some notes down there, Ms. Edity, that 60 projects listed. You may not know the answer. Happy for you to take it on notice. You will provide some insight into how many of those 60 are underway, have commenced. I'm happy for you to take it on notice.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'll take that one on notice and bring some further details back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just think, granted, I understand it's a review, but I just think, and I've mentioned this before, 60 projects seems a significant amount for a small rural council. Will the review consider options to reduce the amount of projects? I'm happy to take this on notice because those discussions might still need to be had. And will they create a priority scale to prioritise council projects in some sort of order if the list hasn't already been done? So we might have a lot on the thing, but which ones do we really, what's their top 5 or whatever? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferrari.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for the question, Councillor Ferrari. So there is a number of different elements in that project management framework review. It is important to note that a number of those, although there's 60 projects, some of them could be deemed business as usual, but they've been put onto the project register to ensure that the oversight and the integrity and delivery and compliance is maintained through the life of that project. So one of the elements of that review is about determining which are normal business as usual capital works versus maybe funded projects. So there's a number of tiers to occur through that. First part of that project review kicked off in our leadership team a couple of weeks ago, where we collated a range of information. We're now reviewing that in accordance with existing policy framework and registers, and then making sure that they all align and interlink with not only project management, but contract management and procurement. So there's the interrelationships between them all.
Thank you, Ms. Edity. Councillor Ferrari.
Thank you, Ms. Edity, and I do look forward to those other bits of information coming back at your leisure. I just would like to reiterate, I just do think 60 is a lot. I think it's a real significant amount, and whilst I applaud the I applaud the effort to try and get those things on the list and get them done. I just worry about what the effect that has on us capacity-wise, staff-wise with burnout, pressure, all those sort of things. And as much as I want to see that progression, you know, us progress in a really good and positive manner, I think that really needs to have a really good look at and probably reduce those numbers and maybe we might do less projects, but we might do it in a better way, easier to manage, easier to have the accountability of not just our staff but contractors, and we're not setting ourselves up for failure. So just general comments, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Councillor Ferrari. The CEO has just shown me the list of projects during the prioritisation, which you'll be able to come back to us on, because again, it may be more about that, maybe Councillor Ferrari, and ensuring that those projects are completed to the right spec and the right time as well. But thank you for those comments greatly, and thank you for that response. Any other Councillor Toll, is there a seconder?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's great once again that we're reviewing our process. We've got 60 projects, I'll come to that. $33 million. It's only fair that we have a check and see if we're getting it right, I would have thought. Let's make sure that when we're reporting them, that we're fully transparent. Tell the public if we're over budget or under budget. You know, at the ultimately end of the day, we're spending the public's money, so they're the ones we're accountable to. And 60 projects, it's a hell of a task for us, for the staff we've got on. So I'd agree with Councillor Ferrari. Let's probably try and trim that back, and it'd be interesting to see the list there, Mr. Nolan, and see what's classed on that. But let's see if we can focus on our review on getting things right at the highest level, maximum value for money and best use of resources. Terrific.
Thank you, Councillor Toll. Again, great discussion there. Other councillors, Councillor Phelan or Councillor Wardlaw? I thank Councillor Ferrari and Councillor Toll too for those astute questions, and we said it is responses because again, these are projects that are incredibly impactful to our community, and we want to make sure that they're done again to the best spec and in the time given. So in light of that, I will put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you again for all the work that's gone into that one. We'll now move into councillor reports and general business. I'm looking across. Councillor Ferrari, do you want to be my first, or does someone want to volunteer to be my first victim? You're happy? Thank you. And I might go around the table, councillors, if that's okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Usual councillor briefings and meetings. Had some meetings with the Old Beaufort Primary School, the PCG meeting and drop-in session. Had some meetings with some constituents regarding the Beaufort pool, because that time for pool opening is coming around very quickly again. Had a discussion with the Beaufort Scout Group regarding repairs to their facility, and I just highlighted that we need a lot of further discussions around that. So that's where we're sitting with that. Moving forward, we need more discussions around that. I did have a chance meeting with a couple of councillors from the Pyrenees Shire, and we had some great healthy discussions, and they're keen to visit the Pyrenees Shire and have a look around our municipality. And it's really, really interesting when you speak to councils, from other councils that you know nothing about necessarily, and you don't know those people, a lot of the issues that we face are very, very similar. So, when we think about things that are happening in the Pyrenees, we're not alone. And it's good that we've got those lines of communications with other councils where we can, stakeholders get together and have those discussions. Sometimes we don't need to reinvent the wheel because it's already been done. So it can save a lot of time. And if we collaborate, we tend to have better outcomes. So it was really, really interesting. Apart from that, that's about it for me, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ferrari. And just to reiterate, I've had discussions on the pool too, if other people have as well. And I actually saw the Skipton Pool mural, so our neighbour in Pyrenees Shire, and that's incredible. The artist that's painted that might be food for thought for our pool. Also, you just reminded me too, Pyrenees Shire We're also looking to collaborate in understanding more about how they run their caravan park. So that will be a really great thing, which I've already been talking to the mayor about. So very exciting space there. And as you said, great opportunities for relationships. Sorry, over to Councillor Tull.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Probably better fill out Jan's sheet of what we've been doing a bit more frequently instead of just letting her deal with it. But look, the couple of things that I take on, apart from whatever's listed there, I think it's been really encouraging that what we started in the little local shire with the ESVF, that all of a sudden we've got 79 councils on board statewide fighting that for our residents, which is great news. Talking about fires, I was talking to a local resident today actually, and I've got a list of bits and pieces here that I'll pass to you, Mr. Nolan, on updates for when they're going to get fixed and whatever. Now we're coming into the festive season. We'll focus on the festive things that have happened. The Lexington Golf Club opening the other day, reopening after massive efforts of what they did, was unbelievably great in what the turnout they had. They had a 4-ball stable for 4 thing. There was in excess of 100 people there, and that was all work that was done entirely by volunteers and volunteer labour and materials, getting that course up to a beautiful standard. What else is that? Well, whilst we're talking about Lexington, they had a farewell to Phil and Kerry on the weekend, who have been running the Hub pub. They're going to move closer down to Melbourne to be with family. They've done a remarkable job. They had 125 people there for dinner the other night, which is a great turnout for a small little town. It's nearly everyone in the community. Warborough Hub on a fundraising effort. They had a community dinner last Friday week ago. They had 135 meals there. So once again, that's nearly the entire community. And then the Evoca races on the weekend. If you wanted a better day to advertise the Pyrenees, you only had to go there. The weather was perfect. The downfall was the queue for the food and the bars. Apparently, it was an internet hitch with the swipe machines, and that made the queues longer. So they've addressed that and hopefully rectify that. And that's about all.
Thank you, Councillor Tull. That is exciting, a lot of those events. I hand to Councillor Wardlaw. Thank you.
Well, hard to believe another month has gone already, and yes, we are on our way to Christmas. In September, I attended the Rotary Defying the Drift dinner at Longrenong College. This is where they have 30 senior high school students attending a 3-day workshop where they travel by bus to agricultural businesses to learn about the future and opportunities that are available to young, willing participants of the industry. These student workshops during the 3 days, and the focus is on building relationships and confidence, especially in public speaking. The dinner provided opportunity for all 30 to speak during the evening, where you were paired up with one. There was matching amount of adults to students, and they interviewed you and then impromptu spoke about you and told everyone else about who you were and what you did. Apparently, it's the first time that a councillor has attended, as opposed to a member of a working member, and it was extremely well received by Rotary. And even if I go next year or if someone else wants to go, it's really well worth going. It was a very enjoyable evening. I also attended the Evoca Riverside Market on the 28th of September, where I helped cook the fundraising barbecue. We sold out by 11:45. We'd made 60 bacon and eggs and 150 sausages. The weather was incredible, and the crowds turned up to have free rides on the camels. The Riverside Market Committee funded this, and they should be commended for their efforts. Just a heads up for anyone interested that this Sunday, Bluey will be there for the kids. So, once again, it's these sort of community groups that just, make the Pyrenees interesting. All these little things that they do for others, it's just fabulous to see. So hopefully the weather's as good. I think it's going to be a little bit worse this week, but maybe by Sunday it'll be okay. So if you can get down there and you might get to see Bluey.
if my kids are listening, we will have to be there on the weekend. But also Define the Drift is incredible. And we've had 2 of our students from up here at Beaufort part of that. Actually, we had 3, sorry. And we have every year, and it's just the impact is incredible. So incredibly great project by Rotary there. Also, you didn't mention, but we also, Councillor Waller and I met with the Pyrenees Shire. So again, talking about, and the whole team did. They again, when I met up with them again down at MAB, were like, that was great that day. Like, it was such a good collegial opportunity, and for them to see our building projects, our housing projects, was really good for them. So, so it is really good, just to reiterate that too. Also, when I was at MAB, Councillor Toll had touched on this. We're still getting a lot of kudos from our efforts with the ESVF. So well done. We've still got a way to go. It's going to be huge coming up to the next election, probably even more work with advocacy. But I'm looking, because Councillor Wardlaw particularly, that, you know, I mean, amongst other councils as well, but really active there in that space. So we'll be getting back into that. But I'll hand over to Councillor Phelan. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. I had, in addition to the there's meetings that are listed there, as already mentioned during the meeting, I went to the official launch of The Hidden at Biggie Billa, which was part of the Ballarat Biennale. Absolutely amazing photography by the artist, capturing some tribal communities and cultures that will disappear as these people die out, very sadly. Had a number of visits down to Red Bank to check on their streetscape works and chatting with locals there. I had a week off up north, which was lovely. So I had a bit of a holiday, but flew back to be able to attend the Lions Club event at Lexington and be a speaker at that event. So it was really great to be invited to speak to Lions Club members and others in the local community, and be there as new members were inducted. So 3 new members inducted into the Lions Club, which is pretty good for a small town. So yeah, great to see again that community kind of coming together and really supporting these sorts of events, and also hear about one of the great fundraising efforts by one of the local Lexington community members. That's it for me.
Wow, that's great. Thank you, Councillor Phelan. And yeah, incredible groups that we have, and we're very privileged to be able to attend that. And yeah, that was wonderful of you to be able to get to that too when you were away. So thank you, Councillor Phelan. Just acknowledging too that The Hidden, and you know, we've got incredible wineries, and I know one of your great loves is Biggie Billa. Incredible place. All the wineries. Yeah, definitely, but maybe we should start plugging a few of them, but they are all incredible. So get out there with the beautiful weather that's coming out. It's really awesome. So just to reiterate that. Again, most of the things have been said, particularly just recently talking about people that do great things. The Bashers Hospital Fund had their AGM this past week, and they do an incredible job to support our Bashers, both our Beaufort and Skipton hospitals. And those hospitals are doing incredible things. They're looking at ways of creating more initiatives that can help in all areas of health across our community, to encourage interns and nurses and doctors to be able to come and locate to our amazing area, and to be able to take the stress off more acute areas, say Ballarat, to be able to provide services a lot more that they can out in our regional areas. So we're very grateful for that, and thank you for all the work that they do. I've also done a lot of training this last month, which has helped me as a councillor and as a mayor. Very grateful for that. I attended the Cavehill Creek Outdoors Inc. This is an incredible program supporting the mental health of adults, and particularly in the outdoors. And we have got some of the most prestigious, beautiful outdoor areas, and Cavehill Creek is one of those incredible places. So that was amazing to see what they do and to support people there. On a bigger note, we're trying to ramp up the advocacy while state government is sitting. So we had some meetings with ministers and bureaucrats last week, but we'll be amping that up as well, Jim and I. And also we had the MAV State Annual Conference, and also that's a Municipal Association in Victoria, their annual conference, and then the State Council meeting on the Friday of last week, or the other week. And so we've had a number of highlights. Artificial intelligence, AI, we're hearing it everywhere, and it's getting involved in all sectors, but particularly in the local government sectors. And there was huge focus on housing. There was really a big summit on housing at the actual conference. At the State Council meeting, some of the highlights, again, we were in the annual report, I was quoted as in speaking to the extensive impact and the devastating impact that ESVF has, particularly in regional areas, but across the board. So again, we are really voicing our concerns everywhere we can. There was also, again, housing regulations, rooming house regulations, which relates to us. There was renewable energy projects, the independent assessment around that and having more impact as local government. A few other highlights were improving acute mental health and response programs, particularly in regional areas. Public pools came up, which is very pivotal. Again, Councillor Ferrari alluded to ours, because a lot in regional areas, particularly regional councils, are coming to the end of life, or there's a lot of issues because of the age of when they were built. We know as a collective now that we need government support to be able to maintain a really important asset for our communities. We looked at road funding, again, that always comes up, and that was a big motion that was put forward. Also, emergency services and volunteer fund, of course, came up again, and a huge united front to abolish that, or if it's not going to be abolished, at least get better parameters. But we're still on the abolish track, and we will really fight for that. Also, waste levies, again, that came up in tonight's meeting, and also a huge one, which again came up in tonight's meeting, but MAV really advocating for the establishment of a clear, streamlined process for the voluntary handback of Crown land and assets from council to state government, or the other way around, but far better support is required. Drought support and realities also came up. Occupational violence was a highlight too. Also a huge one for us as well is the farmers' sovereignty over their land. We know with the WRL the issues there. So there's huge advocacy against the changes to the Electricity Industry Act 2000, which implements fines for property owners who obstruct, hinder or delay the entry of authorised officers to their property, and sanctions authorised officers to use reasonable force to gain entry. We've noted that the power imbalance between farmers and electricity operations is ridiculous and unconscionable. So we really want to be able to fight against that. That was a huge one. There was increased funding for regional infrastructure, and also a non-competitive funding stream was asked for to replace the local roads and community infrastructure program to make it a lot fairer for us as regional councils as well. And also improvement to the planning scheme amendments approval process. Again, that's related to an item we had tonight. So MAV was really pivotal, I feel, more than ever, this latest state council meeting. So that's about all from me, but I'm just refer to comments that were happening before we started our briefing. There's snakes about, so people be very wary of that in our beautiful area. And I know with farmers getting out and when harvest starts, they can be on the move a little bit more too. So be wary, enjoy this beautiful weather, but be wary of those restrictions that might be out there. But thank you all for being present either online. We will jump back in after our closed part of the meeting, but I will now ask a councillor to move us into the closed part of the meeting. Thank you, Councillor Ferrari, and seconding Councillor Phelan. All those in favour? And carried. Thank you.
You're good to
Okay.
go.